Hello. Welcome to Tampon Talk with Mary. Welcome to the show that only airs once a month. I don't have a quick story because this particular episode is a special part of a hopefully few-part investigative series I am continuing to put together on the birth control method or just on Essure. So today I have with me Miss Shannon Walsh. She is a co-admin for the Essure Problems group representing Virginia, yes?
Yep, Virginia and West Virginia.
And West Virginia. Well, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. A little brief introduction.
Let's see. I live in Virginia, and I guess you mean related to the Essure, and it's a medical device that was originally manufactured by Conceptus and then purchased by Bayer, and I got the Essure implanted sometime in 2008. Based on my doctor's recommendation, because I was, I think, about 42, 43, somewhere around there when I got it, and of course had been taking oral hormone for birth control for many years. So my doctor tells me it's the latest, greatest, and the only thing I need to worry about is make sure you don't ever want to have any more children. And I knew that I didn't. So I signed up to get Essure, thinking, I was being responsible, looking out for my health, and, all those good things. Long story short, very shortly after having the coils implanted, I became really sick. In a period of like the first 4 months, I was having heart palpitations, had to go for an emergency EKG. I was getting chronic sickness, like bronchial infections, sinus infections, broke out in rashes all over my upper chest, my face, my arms, was having really, really bad, at the time I was thinking, oh gosh, something really bad, has happened, but didn't know what it was. I was having really bad crying spells, to where I literally physically could not stop crying. Anxiety got really bad, depression got really bad, and I actually ended up being hospitalized for a suicide attempt. And the ironic thing about all this from, I didn't know it was from the Essure, because everything I, was told is, it's latest and greatest, and there's no worries except, you don't make sure, you can't reverse it. So anyway, at the time I was working for the FBI, and that didn't go over very well with them, that I was sick all the time. I was literally crying, had very, very heavy bleeding, clotting, could go through, I guess this is the right place to say it, Tampon Talk with Mary.
Yeah.
But I was going through Super Plus Tampon in under an hour, easy.
Wow.
And so I start, kind of shuffling from doctor to doctor, ended up having to leave my job because they didn't believe I was sick. I don't know what, I knew I was sick, but actually most people in my family, my immediate family that were close to me, we were thinking it was something emotional that had happened, but that was really odd because I had been psychologically evaluated for my position with the FBI. And, I hadn't had any problems like that previously. So, long story short, I was sick for about, I had the Essure coils removed in 2013. During that time, really, really bad, bad side effects, along with the cramping, the pain, the bleeding. I had a miscarriage. A few years after having Essure, didn't even know I was pregnant. Well, actually, let me take that back. I thought I might be, but I didn't know. Lost teeth. My hair was falling out. Horrible body odor. It was just terrible. It was a mess. I was put on so many different medications. My mom, through her diligent research, thank God for my mom, because she knew something was wrong with me, she ended up finding on the internet the ISHA Problems page. And through that page, she was able to find Dr. Charles Monteith, who was one of the first OBGYNs that did the coil removal. And so in 2013, I had an abdominal surgery, to remove my coils. And it's like my mom said, immediately when I woke up from surgery, I just looked totally different. The doctor said that there was a severe amount of inflammation around the coils, but it was immediate. There was no more depression, no more, the damage had been done to my teeth, but, I wasn't having the period cramps, the heavy bleeding, clotting, and, it's all through finding the ISHA Problems page. And I am very grateful to Angie Fermalino, which is the lady that, founded the page. And I had just checked before speaking with you. The group membership number is 41,000, almost 41,400. And I think when I joined the page, or my mom initially did, it was in a little bit over 10,000, I think, somewhere around there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because my cousin who is affected I think I added me in there to get connected with all of you, and it was at 37,000 or something when I joined, so, and that wasn't that long ago, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's nice to see the numbers growing because, people are finding out much needed information, but it's really sad at the same time.
Yeah. So we kind of are trickling into that, but if you could talk to us about a little bit more about who the E-Sisters are and what this group serves to do is
I gotcha.
Yeah. What is the group doing to say help E-Sisters and anybody that's really been victim to this drug?
Well, initially, like I say, the page was founded by Angie Fermalino, and I think she initially started it just trying to warn other women about what had happened with her and her Essure experiment. Mm-hmm. And it just kept growing. And I think initially she didn't know that would happen. And as the numbers have grown, the page is really, it's grown pretty rapidly, actually. And like I say, it's kind of sad, but, good at the same time. Mm-hmm. But there have been so many rallies held in different states trying to bring attention to this matter. The administrators of the ISHA Problems page, they have some awesome administrators. And, for instance, they have one that handles, all the legislative affairs, just different things like that. And they've had a couple of bills introduced in Congress. And the most recent one is the Medical Device Safety Act of 2017, and it's HR 2164. And basically that bill, because what happened with the Essure and the women who have been injured by it, Bayer has received from the FDA approval. It's called a PMA, a pre-market approval. And basically that means if you're injured by it, you're out of luck. And I have a couple of problems with that personally. Yeah. Because I think it takes away your civil rights. I mean, if you're injured by someone, you should have a right to, seek your justice and whatever, the circumstances might be. But this page has, oh my gosh, just done so much. It's a bunch of women, unfortunately, who have all just experienced horrible side effects from this medical device. And like I say, I feel very fortunate to be a part of it, but I can tell you what, we're not going to stop until, this no longer happens. This shouldn't happen to women for a birth control method. And the PMA, the pre-market approval that Bayer received, the FDA classified Essure as a life-saving device. I've never heard of birth control being a life-saving device, but so it gets really tight protections, and to me that's kind of absurd to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And along with that, if people look into the contents, what materials Essure is made out of, it contains a large amount of nickel. I think it's, I don't want to give the percentage because I don't want to give the wrong one, but it's a lot.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people in this country that are allergic to nickel, or even having that device implanted. You can become allergic to nickel, which can make you really sick. It also contains what they're called PET fibers. Actually, it's plastics, and they are carcinogens. And the manufacturer of those PET fibers has even stated that they should not be used in any medical device implant. So, you can't even make this stuff up. But, like I say, we've done the rallies. Many of the women went a couple of years ago and met with the FDA, and they've met with the FDA earlier this year. And unfortunately, there's so many conflicts of interest. Nobody's in a hurry to get rid of the Essure. It's kind of like a hot potato, but it's a revolving door between the pharmaceutical companies and the FDA. So basically at this point, we did have a large success a couple of months ago. Bayer announced that they were going to withdraw Essure from the United States, and that was a huge victory for a grassroots effort that, has been able to achieve that. And so we're just going to keep going because, whether it's the Essure or even the women with the breast implants or the pelvic mesh, there's some bad things happening with medical devices. And, I would just say, I'm educated. I did my research on Essure, the manufacturer, Bayer, at the time. They didn't put this information out there, and they know they didn't.
Yeah.
And it's just tragic to see some of the horrible stories, including my own, that you almost lose your life over a birth control method. It just shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen, and I just want to do what I can to make it not happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you definitely touched on like the drastic actual effects that this drug had on not just you, but like many other women. And I guess you touched upon it too, but like what kind of promises has Essure made, and then what are they saying now, if I can ask? Like just comparing the statements then versus their statements like currently.
Well, as far as Bayer goes, they've stood by the product from the beginning till this day. In fact, saying that that Essure can be relied on, basically period. Their numbers have been all over the map over like the past, 4 years that I know of. When I got it, like I say, it was in 2008. There was nothing on the internet that I could find except the advertisement from Bayer, their page concerning Essure. And, it was all this wonderful stuff, and it's only a 10-minute procedure. It's non-surgical. You can go back to work the next day, basically, or within 2 days. And, that sounded great to me. I'm a divorced mother of one, but, very busy career at the time. So, I thought, hey, that's great. And, of course, I trusted my doctor, but through the past few years, Bayer, their numbers, so many hundreds of thousands of women, use Essure successfully. And that's absolutely not true. Their numbers didn't change for like 4 years. It might have been more, but I think it was 4 that I'm aware of. And they just say the same thing, that they stand behind the product and, being able to rely on it. And every day, because I'm on the ISHA Problems Facebook page just almost every day, it's just story after story. There's been hundreds of fetal deaths. There's been a couple of deaths. I think I want to say 4 deaths attributed to Essure, and the injuries, they're catastrophic. They're life-changing.
Yeah.
Part of what happened to me, not only the physical things that happened to me, but I ended up, I had a doctorate, had a great job, and I lost it, and ended up eventually having to file bankruptcy. And it's the horrible, it wasn't a 10-minute procedure, I can tell you that. I've never felt anything so painful in my life. I know there were, I think, 3, maybe 4 people in the room when I had my procedure, and a lady, and I always remembered after I had the procedure done, she came over while the procedure was being done, and she kept holding my hand and patting my hand, and her face looked so sympathetic. And I remember thinking, well, gee, I'm just a big wimp. But no, this has actually now been classified as a surgical procedure. And I had it done in my doctor's office. I didn't have any anesthesia or anything like that. So, what Bear promised to be, quick, easy birth control, 10 minutes, no pain, it's false. I have seen women say that they had it and, they have no problems with it, which I think is wonderful. But, when you've got 40-some thousand people that have had issues, there's something wrong.
Yeah, it boggles my mind that a company that's still supporting this drug ignores that large of a number. It's just it.
Yeah, that's kind of been the as the numbers have grown and what I've seen, Bayer has just continued to insult the people that they've harmed, diminish, because it's always, oh, well, so many women have had this done and rely on it successfully. And it's kind of a smack in the face because it's like their risk benefit is what they always refer to it as. And they said, well, the benefit still outweighs the risk. And I know a whole lot of women that would, say differently because I know my life meant more and my health and all these women. But Bayer has not taken responsibility, and I'm quite sure they won't. And just like in talking to you today, I just want other women to know, because had I known, I wouldn't, who's going to get something that somebody says, hey, well, your teeth might fall out, your hair might fall out, you might become, outrageously depressed and suicidal. But, it wasn't out there. And so, no, their promises, of this being so great, not kept.
I love that the next, at least one of the major steps that you guys have been taking, and again, like you're saying, it being such a grassroots effort, is legislation, because that's at least in America, that's a great power that citizens have, is that they have the right to push something, and for people to vote on it. So maybe talk to us a little more about the bill and how we can support it, follow it. Can we call our senators and what are some efforts we can make, at least politically, that could?
Absolutely, and I appreciate you bringing that up, too, to, give a little more detail. The bill is actually a bipartisan bill, where there's, people on the right and left that are co-sponsors of the bill. Basically, what it is looking to do is restore rights to people that have been injured by, medical devices. Unfortunately, like I say, that I still can't quite grasp how that happened, that you can, just generally swipe away some people's civil rights, but to have an avenue. So when because the companies have no incentive to not hurt you if they know nothing's going to happen to them. It's not going to cost them anything, financially or anything else. But this bill would open a pathway for people that have been injured to have their day in court, and let the courts decide based on evidence, but not just to shut you out and, you've arbitrarily been put under a certain, pre-market approval. So at the very least, if it had that pre-market approval, that should be foremost given to anybody that is sitting in a doctor's office, looking to get them any kind of device implanted. How do you know how to make a decision when you don't have the information? It's not given to you. It's not, you do your due diligence on the internet or, whoever you can talk to. But so I would strongly plead with anybody that your show reaches to get the word out. And it's not just with Essure, it's other medical devices too. Mm-hmm. To do your own due diligence. Don't be afraid to ask questions. With this bill, the best thing, a bunch of us, we always, in supporting this bill, contact your congressmen, your state senators, because that's the only way, you got to make enough noise, literally. The bad part, or what makes it more difficult, is a lot of these people receive big contributions from pharmaceutical companies. So, their incentive is to, get a check. I can't write a $50,000 check, but a big medical company can. But you've just got to make enough noise and get the word out there and let people know and spread the message to, make a change. That's the only way it's going to happen. And we are enjoying a lot of success, not as much as we'd like, but I'm just so grateful to be able to talk about this and get the word out. It hurts my feelings every day when I see, it might be a short post on Facebook, but when I read, the other day, a woman had a picture, it's got 3 coils in her. It was only supposed to be 2. And I know, background on that. I understand the tragedy of what's happening there because I've been through it. And so I just really appreciate you. Like I say, call your congressman, write your congressman, your senator, and let them know. You should not be injured, just arbitrarily for a company to make money.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, this, to me, sounds like a very clear case of protecting people against corporations, and that's something that our country was built on, essentially, is being able to protect the people first. So it should be an apparent fundamental right that you're protected in this way, but for some reason it isn't. So I think it's a wonderful thing that there's legislation that we can all push, and take something that's our problem, or your problem, if I'm, truly, if I'm very much an outsider, but I want to be a part of this, is that it's something that's directly affecting you and your community, and then putting it into the hands of the politicians, saying, this is your problem now. This is why we're paying you to do what you do, So it's it's a really good thing. I
would think one thing they've seen with us, we're not going away.
Yeah.
And what is so amazing to me about that, starting with Angie Firmalino, she's been injured, but she's fighting, and her efforts have led to collective efforts of injured people fighting, standing up for themselves, and it really, there's a lot of emotion in that too. My daughter almost lost her mom. And I'm her only parent, and it's just, it's heartbreaking. I mean, some of these women, and I'm one of them, I was homeless for a period of time, no insurance, had to send my daughter back to live with my mom. This shouldn't be happening to women in any country, but certainly not the United States, where we have the FDA, but, as I mentioned before, the problem there, you have people from there. They rotate, go to work for the FDA, and then they go back to their pharmaceutical company. And, it's the Gordian knot, so to speak. But I don't want what happened to me to keep happening to other women.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd be in this position in my life, but, you never know, I guess, where life will take you. But I just want, tell everybody, do not get Essure.
Yeah, and you're doing a lot of great work, Shannon, and I'm really glad that you're in the position that you're in, even if you didn't expect to be, because it's very
right. Well,
yeah.
yeah, that's it's a path I didn't know I'd be on, but I really am. I'm so honored to be a part of this group. I mean, some of these women, they're truly amazing.
Yeah.
To go through physically, financially, marriages, lost marriages, family relations destroyed, including mine. Some of them, I can't, tell you I can look at my personal story and I know, I know what happened to me was bad, but when I look at what's happened to my daughter, my mom, who had to pay out of pocket for me to have my Essure coils removed. And it was about, I guess, around $7,000. It's got tentacles everywhere. You get the Essure coils, but what's happening from it just reaches so much further.
Mm-hmm. Something that was advertised as a quick 10-minute procedure.
Yeah, isn't that great?
Permanent life damage.
Yeah, I don't know why, but the longer that I've been involved in this topic with the Essure, and some of the history that I've learned, wow, women just really, I was, I don't know any other way to say it, but I was never like, oh, well, there's some kind of war against women, or women are second class. I can tell you, I've totally changed my mind. Not with everything, but I can tell you. In the history that I've looked at with this and the GYN issues, people don't listen to women. They minimize. I had a doctor laugh at me when I told him how many boxes of tampons I was using. And that's so hurtful. And, I can't even get over that hurt, but it's scary because you're telling somebody what's going on and they don't believe you. So, I just want Bayer to answer for what they've done. If I had my way, some people would be in jail, but, I'm going to do what I can. I just, you can't just go around hurting people like this for $1. I probably didn't mention it earlier, but, that was one of the big incentives with Bayer. These doctors are getting paid so much money to put the Essure coils in rather than do like a traditional tubal ligation. And then Bayer's providing them with the equipment, which is another conflict, but I can't even believe, what I see. That I used to think, oh gosh, if it's FDA approved, everything's good to go, and totally different now. FDA approval means nothing to me. So I just don't want this to keep happening to other women, and it makes, like I say, from my personal experience and a lot of the women that I've met, I love them to death. I have the utmost respect for them. They're heroes trying to take care of their kids when they've been injured by something that was so unnecessary. It just didn't even need to happen. So that's what, call your congressman, your senator, and, that's all I can say. Support the Medical Device Safety Act and spread the word to everybody. Do not get Essure. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Because you can, because that goes off at the end of the year, but that means you can get it until, like, December 31st, right? Like, you can...
Well, apparently, they are going to pull it off, stop selling it, Bayer, December 31st, but any doctors who have any stock of the Essure coils, they are allowed, apparently, to implant them through December 31st of 2019, the end of next year.
Wow.
Yeah. It's amazing. I mean, the FDA did earlier, I think it was in April earlier this year, put a black box warning on Essure, but they did not make it mandatory. But some of these doctors, wow, that's a whole nother area, or like I say, a tentacle of it too.
Yeah.
What's wrong with informing somebody? If you make a product and you can't stand behind it to where you're going to let people know what's in it, then maybe you make a cruddy product. you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't tell people, and you purposely don't tell them. They knew what it was made of. But it's like, you know, all these women are just sitting ducks. And, of course, you know, I was raised the same way. You trust what your doctor tells you. And, you know, it's kind of like the fireman, policeman, doctor. Oh, okay, you respect them.
Yeah.
You know, they're knowledgeable about what they're talking about. But I have a great fear of doctors. Although, I know there's really good ones out there. But there's a lot of them that have no interest in their patients' well-being. Yeah. And I you know, feel very comfortable saying that. And it's sad to say that, but it's the truth. And we've had pictures of women with 6 coils in them. A child that had I think it was a 2-year-old child with a piece of an Essure coil that had broken in the child's back.
Oh my God.
And like I say, all the fetal deaths, it's horrible.
Yeah.
You know, like I say, I mean, we're supposed to be, you know, the leading country for health care and all these other good things, and I'm not seeing it.
Yeah. Sorry, just the dog out. Yeah. So there was a dog sitting on the floor in here, and food was downstairs. So other things happen, but yeah, and you know, it's funny because you can walk to a dealership, right, and you can know everything about the car. The car, you get the Carfax and everything. You know exactly what you're paying for, and there's like they legally have to tell you what you're paying for, but it's ridiculous that you can't have that in a doctor's office where it's a little more threatening, you know, to your immediate
something
life.
That's supposed to be in your body permanently.
Yeah.
You know. And I can't tell you, I mean, I feel like an idiot because looking back, like I say, you know, I'm not the smartest person in the world, but I'm not the dumbest. And I felt like, you know, I knew what I was doing. Like I say, you know, I trust if my doctor tells me, well, the only thing with this device, you just need to make sure you don't want any more children. Okay, well, you know, I wasn't asked anything, you know, but do I have any allergies to nickel or pet fibers, or hey, would you like a little cancer implanted in you? You know, but yeah, you know, and I mean, that aspect of it makes me really angry. Mm-hmm. With good reason. Anybody should be angry, but it's like I say, if you're putting a product on the market and you know what it contains, but yet you are not providing that information to the public, mm-hmm. to me, I think it equates to a criminal assault.
Yeah.
That's my opinion, you know, and I feel comfortable with that opinion too. But, you know, like I say, just, you know, hey, tell us what's in it and let us make a decision about whether we want to get it or not.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, the show that you're doing here, I mean, it's women's issues, you know, with periods or, you know, the topics surrounding that. You know, women... and this isn't to knock men in any way, but, you know, most of these women, you know, have young kids they're trying to take care of, jobs they're trying to work. You know, when mom goes down, the whole family can go down. Yeah. And it just, you know, people having to put their kids in foster care or send them to live somewhere else because they're so sick. This is just over the top to me. Yeah. And, you know, like I say, we're not going to stop until we can make a change, and we're working on it, and we're having some success, and we're going to keep going because, you know, we matter more than that.
Yeah, you absolutely do. I commend you and all the other women doing that. I just, yeah, because you're right. It is absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely over the top, and these corporations need to own up to the fact that they did this to thousands of people. And that, yeah, I agree with you. I'd put him in jail.
Right.
Yeah. Be like, yeah, seems fair.
Yeah. To me, it does.
And then so is there any way that listeners can follow your guys' journey with the bill, follow like the progress with like living through this journey? I know you guys have the support group, but is there any other way that we can at least find updates about you guys in the bill?
Well, you know, they do, and I apologize, I don't have that website right in front of me, but I think you can, you know, if you just Google Congress and ISHA, Medical Device Safety Act. Information will come up there. And I hadn't mentioned there was a documentary that came out earlier this year called The Bleeding Edge. It's on Netflix. So, it's pretty easy to get a hold of it to watch it.
Yeah.
And it is, the reviews have been just, it's crazy. I mean, it's gotten really awesome reviews. And it features the Essure, but also some other medical devices. And it's great for, so many people are saying, oh my gosh, I didn't know this is how the FDA, did what they do.
Yeah.
And the approvals that they get, etc. But it is an eye-opening documentary that was, like I say, they followed Angie Fermalino and a couple of other women, and that is, featured in the movie, and it is definitely worth seeing.
Yes.
And pass it along, because just, for the public in general, because, like they say, knowledge is power. But yeah, big kudos to those people and Angie Fermalino. Because the word being out, the numbers have grown so much with people, hey, I've had this going on with me, and my doctor tells me, oh, well, I'm just getting older, or I'm, premenopausal. It's an amazing documentary. It's really worth watching.
Yes, yes, please watch the documentary. It was an excellently done documentary. The same people do The Hunting Ground and The Invisible War, tackling a lot of documentaries that affect women's issues particularly. But this documentary is really, really well done. And yes, I agree. Please go please go on Netflix and watch it. Well, yeah.
It's good.
Well, great. Thank you so much for being on, Shannon. You were spectacular. Do you mind, I'll close out the show. You mind sticking around?
No problem.
Oh, great. Yes, and listeners.
Thanks for having me on.
Yes, thank you for being on. Hopefully we can make a lot of positive change.
Yep.
And then listeners, if you want to follow, I'll find the website, throw it in the description of the episode when it airs, so you can go ahead and follow their journey with the bill. Call your senators, call your congressmen. It's the only way we can really make positive political change in this country, is by exactly what Shannon is saying, is your voice. So continue to do that. And then if you have any questions about Essure, any comments you'd like to make, you could totally send it our way. If you're open to it, I would love to send it your way. Shannon, if you email us at tampontalkwithmary@gmail.com. Great, thank you. And then follow our media on Instagram and Twitter, so Tampon Talk W Mary, to follow this whole investigative report. This will be a couple of episodes where we're really tackling this particular topic. There's clearly a lot to unpack. And then
right.
Yeah. And then like us on Facebook. So we're on Facebook, Tampon Talk with Mary. But thank you for listening, and if you're someone who bleeds and listens to the show, keep on bleeding. You're doing okay. If you feel empathy for women and all their causes, including this one, please call your senators and make some active change. But keep on fighting, whatever it is. And we'll see you next time on Tampon Talk with Mary.
Hey, PMSer, listen, I hear you, and I just want to ask you something. So, you take your vitamins every day, your younger friends make fun of you for it, but, screw them, because you're taking care of yourself, even if it makes you look like an old lady with a pill box. You take care of yourself. You remember to drink water. You eat 3 meals a day. But what are you doing about your PMS? You cry, you have chocolate, and you seclude yourself, and you put yourself in a corner, and you avoid contact with people because Lord knows what you're going to do. But let me tell you what you should do. So the folks that make Jubilance, right, is a natural PMS supplement. That's right. All you Trader Joe buying, like Sprouts buying people that all want the organic and the natural, this is for you too, okay? Like, I can't afford to live that lifestyle, but I can afford to have Jubilance in my life, okay? It's only 2 ingredients. One of them is vitamin C, okay? I kid you not, this is not a medical claim, but I was on my PMS time, and I also was going through a cold, and my cold did not last as long as it usually does, and I don't think it's a coincidence, but you know, you guys should try it and do it yourself. But listen, get yourself a bottle of Jubilance, and let me tell you what. Let me sweeten the deal for you a little bit. Follow the link in the description of this episode, and it'll give you 10% off your subscription order of their bottles. That's right. And it'll also get you the discount on a one-time bottle order in case you want to, try it out before you decide to get the monthly subscription. So yeah, check it out and take care of yourself. There ain't nothing wrong with taking care of yourself. There's other people that you gotta take care of in your life. Sure, your mom's calling you every day wondering how you're doing, but you're really taking care of her. Your younger siblings, you're taking care of them, but you need to take care of yourself, sister. Get yourself a bottle and email me and tell me what you think. And that's the scoop. Okay, that's what I want to know. So yeah, follow the description, get a bottle, and get your life together. 'Cause you're already doing great, but we could all be better. Yeah.